Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. So this could be absolutely huge for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I haven't seen them this good on paper in a very long time. Aaron Rodgers has signed his one-year contract, his one-year deal. It could be worth up to $25 million. But let's talk about the offensive side of the football. Michael Pittman Jr., Jeremy Bernard, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdle, an offensive line that is getting better week in and week out, growing by the day. Pat Freiermuth, I think Pat Freiermuth will rebound from last year. Arthur Smith's love affair with Jono Smith is officially over. I do see some Aaron Rodgers critics saying that the Steelers should have went in the opposite direction, that there was better options out there on the table. What options is, see, when you say things like that, when Jerome Bettis says stuff like that, when ESPN says things like that, like there was better options on the table. Well, if there was better options on the table than Aaron Rodgers, why don't you name them? Now, I do understand that a lot of people would like to see the Steelers pretty much go with the rookie quarterback, two rookies that have never played a down of NFL football. And I think that's a mistake. Now, if we get to camp and it's clear as day that Will Howard or Drew Aller is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers, and they win the job, I'm all about whoever wins the job, that's the person that should play. That's the player that should play. I'm all about the best player playing. But you have to go out there and you have to sign Aaron Rodgers. I think it's undeniable. I don't know how anybody could disagree with that. Last year, Aaron Rodgers was still a top 15 quarterback in the league. He'll be, I think, in December, Aaron Rodgers will be 43 years old. Am I concerned about Aaron Rodgers making it through the entire season? Of course I am. His age, the cold weather in Pittsburgh, but I think he's going to do a good job, meaning Aaron, of getting rid of the football before he gets hit, and that's fine. You know, that's where we are as an organization. There's no such thing as reset or let's lose on purpose, like Ryan Clark, lose on purpose so you can move up in the draft and get your quarterback. That's not, you know, you got to understand Mr. Rooney too. Everybody's human. Art Rooney is not getting any younger. You think he doesn't want to win a playoff game? You think he doesn't want to get to this? Of course he does. Who's got time to intention? You're paying a lot of money for these players. You're paying big time money. This is a business. These are investments. You think he doesn't want to win? I mean, the loyalty to Tomlin, I'll never figure out. You know, Mr. Rooney was ready to do it all over again. He was ready to bring back Tomlin resigned. Remember, Art Rooney didn't fire Mike Tomlin. Tomlin resigned. Get that through your head. And I think this year, for the first time in a very, very long time, 19 years, you're going to see a very different Steelers team for the better. I've said it multiple times that I think that Mike McCarthy was the perfect man for the job to develop a quarterback in a quarterback-driven league, to turn around the organization fast. I don't want to hear about his age. I don't want to hear about his... People are talking about his demands weight. Like, really? I don't care. Like, who cares? Who cares? What do you... It's just like... He's not an inspirational story, really. He's not an inspirational story. He grew up in Pittsburgh, pretty close to the stadium. He's been wanting to coach his hometown team his entire life. Has a great track record of developing quarterbacks. That's not an inspiration. I'm baffled by some of these comments that you see from the media or Pittsburgh beat writers or Pittsburgh insiders. It's really just mind-blowing. Again, you know, I'm not going to name all the quarterbacks, but look at Mike McCarthy's track record in developing a quarterback. How could anybody argue with that? Mike Tomlin didn't develop Big Ben. Mike Tomlin didn't draft Big Ben. And since Big Ben retired, since he's not here, how many times have I said it? 1,000,000 times. Do you really think Mike Tomlin was the man for the job to develop two rookie quarterbacks? Why do you think he loved Aaron Rodgers? Tomlin loved Aaron Rodgers because he didn't have to develop anything. He didn't have to show him. Have you ever heard Tomlin talk about footwork, feet in the ground, stabilize using your feet? No, you heard all of the This is the words that you heard when Tomlin would talk about quarterbacks: competitiveness, the intangibles, a fighter. That's not the words that I want to hear when we're talking about developing our core. Yeah, of course, those traits are important, but there's a lot of technique issues that need to be worked on perfecting your craft to be the best quarterback that you can be. And don't say, I've been hearing a lot of beat writers say this too, like they're trying to make it sound like what Mike McCarthy does is no big deal because the quarterback is going to, in tough times, it's just going to revert back to what they know. I mean, really? That quarterback on the Redskins, Jaden Daniels, I'm pretty sure is that what he did? Because he refined his technique. He refined a lot of things. And now he's a top-notch quarterback, and he's not relying on what he did in college or in high school. He's a professional quarterback. Let me look at the super chats real fast. Welder's Fence, is Aaron signing our best option right now? I'm a little bummed, but it's whatever. Yeah, I do think it's our best option right now. Why not bring him in? Why not pay him? Let's just say, hypothetically, Aaron Rodgers gets beat out in camp by Will Howard or Drew Aller. You don't want to have Aaron Rodgers on the bench just in case something happens? I mean, it's not like if they tell him, oh, you're the second string guy, do you think he's going to retire or quit? No. I think if Aaron Rodgers went to camp and he saw that these other rookie quarterbacks, they're basically both rookies, are better than him and they started, I don't think Aaron Rodgers would, just quit the team. Is he going to start? Of course he's going to start. For the most part, he's definitely going to start. I'm just saying, like, the worst case scenario. What's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is Will Howard beats Aaron Rodgers out. Do you really feel comfortable going into the season with only Drew Aller as the backup? No. So the Steelers made the absolute right decision in signing Aaron Rodgers and giving him the deal that he deserves. The market sets the money. Aaron Rodgers played at a cheap contract last year. So, think about our team for the first time in a long time. Michael Pittman Jr., DK Metcalf, Bernard. Hopefully, he catches on fast. Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdle, Pat Freiermuth, our offensive line. This is the best offensive team that we've had in a very long time. Very long time. And I know defensively last year, we pretty much sucked. We're like last in almost every statistical category. But Tomlin and Austin were not putting the team in the best possible positions to make plays. Everybody knows this. Football, out of all the sports, is the most important sport when it comes to coaching and game planning. And you've heard time and time again that everybody and their mom knew what the Steelers were going to do on offense and defense. And I think this year we're going to see a giant leap in the statistical categories. Like we're top 15 in every. I believe we're going to be a much, much better sound football team than we've been in a very, very long time. We're not going to see the same old stale thing week in and week out. We are going to see creativity on both sides of the ball. I just think it's undeniable. I don't know how anybody could not agree that the Steelers are going in a positive direction. We're trending in the right direction. Let's see what Aaron Rodgers' contract details revealed. Aaron Rodgers is expected to sign a one-year deal worth up to $25 million per sources. The deal is expected to include a base salary between $22 and $23 million, with up to a few million more in incentives. The deal still needs to be finalized and signed. He's playing. It's over. He'll be there. He's our best option. Let's do it. I would have loved to see Mekhi. Listen, I hope Jeremy Bernard proves me wrong. But I would have loved to see the big three: Mekhi Lemon, DK Metcalf, and Michael Pittman Jr. That would have been a hell of a receiving core. And I'm not saying that Jeremy Bernard can't be that type of player, but if you were just basing it off the college resumes, that's the only thing I'm basing it off of. Mekhi Lemon, Biletnikoff Award, a winner, absolutely phenomenal. Played a lot of college football. Great. That's all. If you're just looking at the player on paper, you got to go with Mekhi Lemon in that situation. But hopefully Jeremy Bernard proves me wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. It's a similar structure to Rodgers' contract a year ago. In 2025, he signed a one-year deal with a base value of $13.65 million, which included $10 million in guaranteed money. Incentives pushed the deal to a maximum of $19.5 million. Ultimately, he earned just $500,000 in incentives for the Steelers making the playoffs. Look, you get the point. He's making money. That's the market. I mean, he gave us a deal last year. He deserves the money that he's going to get. And again, stop blaming Art Rooney for this situation. I mean, I know Art Rooney is the one that gave Tomlin the control. I know Art Rooney is the one that gave Tomlin the job. But it's not up to Art Rooney to develop a quarterback. Neither is it Omar Khan. That is Mike Tomlin's job. And the reason why we're in this situation, again, is because Mike Tomlin, in 19 years, couldn't draft or develop a quarterback. Now, you'll be like, well, Art Rooney's the one that gave him the job. Okay, that's true. That is true. I mean, I think Art Rooney is a very patient boss. I think when he hires people, he gives them the benefit of the doubt, and, he treats them like men. And, we are exactly where we are because of Mike Tomlin. That's it. If you don't like this, all I hear is people bash Tomlin. All I do is hear people bash Art Rooney and bash Mike McCarthy and bash this one and bash that one, but they don't want to talk about Tomlin's inability to develop a quarterback. It's really just mind-blowing. Breaking: Aaron Rodgers signing with Steelers. Let's look at that. Okay, I mean, I pretty much told you what it is. On Thursday, May 7th, 93.7, The Fan reported Rodgers would visit the Steelers over the weekend. NFL and Network's Ian Rappaport confirmed the report. All right, whatever. You get the point. He signed the deal. We're ready to go. Let's start the season. We got a three-headed monster at wide receiver. We got two very good backs. Jaylen Warren is an excellent back. And I'm telling you this, Rico Dowdle, let's hope he plays like D'Angelo Williams from the Carolina Panthers. I think he's very underrated. I think he's hungry to get out there and prove what he can do. And sorry, Super Chats. My screen cut you out for a minute. I'm sorry. Let's go to Super Chats. Tyreek Keaton, 8375. I agree. I trust Graham's scheme better than Tomlin Austin any day. Exactly. Tyrone Keaton, 8375. I like Bernard better than Lemon. I mean, I hear that a lot from people, but I'm just basing it off their college resume. If you just go on, I get it. It's like a feeling, like an inkling, but I'm just talking about the resume. Tyrone Keaton, 8375. I'm glad A-Rod back. Way better coaching O-line. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and that's another thing, too, that a lot of the fan base doesn't talk about is how good Aaron Rodgers was at coaching the other position groups, telling them what they need to do. Like, the players that we've had have not been coached by the best coaches. And Aaron Rodgers last year, he was a stud in the team meetings. He was a stud in the position group meetings. He was a coach on the field. He made our team better. If we don't have Aaron Rodgers last year, we don't win. We probably don't win any games. Do you know how bad our season would have been last year without Aaron Rodgers? I don't want to hear, I don't want to go 10-6 or whatever it is. I don't want to go 11-6. I'd rather lose the season and get a better draft pick. Anyway, it's the stupidest take. It's just dumb. Like when I hear that, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Can we talk about something else? It's a stupid take. Here we go. Let's see what ESPN had to say. Let's see what they had to say. There were better options, but they're probably not going to list the options when I start reading the article. There were better options. ESPN analyst doesn't like Steelers bringing back Rodgers. Here we go. Let's see what he said. Oh, here we go. They're still on this Kyle Murray nonsense. Here we go. While free agency is never rich with elite passers, there were better options for the Steelers than this. Kyle Murray would have been an outright better and far cheaper player. He signed with the Vikings for the veteran minimum of $1.3 million. The likelihood Murray gets hot for a playoff run is quite small, but not non-existent. With Rodgers, it practically is. Dude, we went to the playoffs last year and we got smashed. Okay, what are you talking about? It's just pure stupidity. Kyle Murray's 5'5" with small hands, playing in a grass wet field and playing in cold weather. When the months, I'm not a Kyle Murray too. Like he's very like diva-ish in a way. Now I know you'll say that about Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is quirky and kind of distant because of the way the media has treated him over the years for being an anti-vaxxer. I mean, I can't blame him for being like that, the way that he is. Kyle Murray, even at this age, is not a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. What are you talking about? Here's the thing with Kyle Murray. He's been a starter since the day he came into the league, and you know exactly what you're getting. You saw exactly what you're going to get in Kyle Murray. Does he look like an AFC North quarterback to you, Kyle Murray? Does he even look like Doug Flutie? I mean, hell, if Doug Flutie was in his prime, I'd take Doug Flutie, but I don't even think he's Doug Flutie. It's just, okay, you named one player. You named Kyle Murray. I should ESPN analyst. Which analyst is this? Ben Solak. Who the hell is Ben Solak? Hey, Ben, go cover the Cardinals or the Vikings, or do us all a favor. What are you talking about? Tyree Keaton, 8375 super chats. A-Rod, way better than Murray. Will Tua? Oh, yeah, I agree. The all-seeing Goy, 1590 super chats. What's up, buddy? Bum coach, gone, problem solved. Rodgers told Father Time to his bitch ass down. Let's effing go. I agree. I mean, he could still throw the football. And if you noticed last year, when they put Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun, he would do a lot of play action out of the shotgun. He still moved pretty decent. Now, the only problem with these quarterbacks when they get older, you saw this with Russell Wilson, they start to move, they start running, and they think they're faster than what they are, and then they get hit from behind, and they fumble the ball. You see, they think they can get there, but they can't. I'm pretty sure that Aaron Rodgers knows at this point that he's not that guy, and he's not trying to run the football. We saw that with Russell Wilson multiple times. So, but Aaron Rodgers is a good, he's again, it's the NFL. There's no freebies. There's no give me's. There's no any of that. Statistical numbers last year, Aaron Rodgers was still a top 15 quarterback in the National Football League. Am I lying? Tell me if I'm lying. Well, there's fence in the super chats. Willis was available. Would have been a stud with wide receivers. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think that's a stretch. Tyrone Keaton, 8375. I mean, A-Rod had a problem. The worst wide receiver core and left side O-line. He still threw 24 for 3,300. Exactly. He had one receiver. He's throwing the ball too last year. He had one receiver. Calvin Austin III was hurt a little bit here and there. He made some catches. Who did Aaron Rodgers have? He had DK Metcalf. That's it. And Jono Smith. Did Pat Freiermuth see the field under Tomlin and Arthur Smith's offense? Did he see No, he didn't. So you took another offensive weapon off the field. And when Pat Freiermuth did get some repetitions, and they did, Tomlin didn't live in his fears and threw the ball over the middle of the field, Pat Freiermuth had some big catches. I mean, come on. I don't know how it's just like, I don't know how anybody doesn't see that Aaron Rodgers is the best option right now for the Steelers, especially with two rookie quarterbacks going into the preseason. The all-seeing Goy 1590 super chat says McCarthy made Dallas #1 offense twice. Yeah, I'm all for McCarthy. Best decision that Art Rooney's made in a very long time. So let's be serious. And you know that. 4 most intriguing non-divisional games on Steelers 2026 schedule. Let me see. Oh, I thought they were going to list the schedule. I'm not reading all this. Hold on. This stupid game in Paris. It's like, yeah, let's play a game in Paris. Such a stupid game. Tyrone Keaton, 8375 super chats. Facts. I like McCarthy offensive minded. We are I agree with you. We're in a way better situation right now. You're going to see a lot more creativity than you've seen. Like, you're going to see more creativity in week 1 than you see it in 19 years. So let's be serious. Chris Boswell is the greatest kicker in Steelers history. I agree with that. Remember last year when he slipped? He had back-to-back misses because of slips. And the fan base was like, oh, it's over for Bos. Bos is finished. He's not mentally in the game anymore. It's like, Steeler, come on, man. Please stop. Chris Boswell doesn't hold all the Pittsburgh Steelers records yet. One day he will. Even before then, he holds the title as the greatest kicker in franchise history. There are others in the conversation for the title. Roy Girella played for the 3 of Pittsburgh's 4 Lombardi winning teams of the 70s dynasty. Gary Anderson has held the title for decades, thanks to his 13 seasons and nearly 200 games with the franchise. Boswell, though, is number 1. Maybe that's not a shock or all that interesting. Boswell's success in Pittsburgh isn't up for debate. Still, it's rare to confidently say we are watching the greatest in franchise history about any player in real time. Often those come in hindsight after the story has been written. It's a golden era of kickers, one that will keep on shining unless and until NFL rules intervene to make field goals more difficult. Judging errors is always difficult, especially for specialists. Plop Girola or Anderson into today's game and their field goal percentage skyrocket. Likewise, put Boswell in the 70s when kicking was barely respected and his production would plummet. Even in that context, Boswell is number 1. He doesn't have the NFL's biggest leg, but in a world where hitting from a distance is common, no one does it better than Boswell. His 52 makes from 50-plus yards since entering the league are only second to Matt Prater's 58. Since 2021, Boswell's 43 such field goals dwarfs anyone else. He's the only one in the 40s. All right, I'm not going to read anymore. He's a kicker. We all know how great he is. We all know how important to the team he is. It's about time the Steelers paid him big money because he was getting underpaid for the longest time. Tyreek Keaton, 83.75. I'm glad Rooney fixing the grass too. What is he doing to the grass? I mean, he's keeping it fully 100% natural? I'm hoping. I mean, it does look natural to me. Or is he just resodding it? What's going on there? The all-seeing Goy, 1590. I was so old, I was part of the gorillas. What's the gorillas or gorillas? I'm so old, I was part of the... What is that, a band or something? Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I mean, it's Boswell. Analyst names the good and the bad of Steelers' schedule. The Pittsburgh Steelers now know when they'll play each team on their 2026 schedule. And with the schedule laid out, there are some favorable opportunities for the Steelers. Of course, with that comes some stretches that may prove to be challenging. CBS Sports' John Breach outlined the good and the bad of the Steelers' schedule. Breach highlighted travel as the good part of Pittsburgh's schedule. They only play outside of the Eastern time zone in Paris and in Week 17 in Nashville against the Tennessee Titans. That is a very big deal. Tyreek Keaton, 83.75. Not fully sure. I know he is also getting new seats too. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, they definitely need some new seats. I love the yellow seats, but they could put some padding on the seats. I mean, who knows if they rainproof padding? That would be nice. They need to do something with the vendors for the food. And I listen, I love Art Rooney. I really do. I do my best to defend them. I love the stadium. I love the uniforms. Please, God, don't let them ever change the uniforms. But the food in the stadium is the worst food I've ever eaten in my entire life. I've said this a million. It doesn't matter what I intentionally buy everything to try it. And some of it's a little bit better than others. But literally, I've been to Pop Warner football games where 10-year-olds play and they have better burgers, fries, and soda than this. It's just mind-blowing. This is the Steelers. What is going on here? The pizza smells like feet. It smells like feet. Chicken sandwich is dry as hell. I mean, I don't know what's going on in those food courts, but they need to do better than that. Oh, the all-seeing Goy 59, like Lambert's Lunatics. Oh, I get what you're saying now. The Steelers have one of the most manageable travel schedules in the NFL this year. The bad part, which should come to no surprise, is Pittsburgh's brutal stretch from Week 11 to Week 14 when they play the Philadelphia Eagles, Denver Broncos, Houston Texans, and Jacksonville Jaguars. You could also add Week 10 when the Steelers play the Cincinnati Bengals to make for a rough 5 games coming off their bye. It's going to be a stretch that's likely key to the Steelers making the playoffs. Oh, yeah, definitely. If they can survive playing a division rival and four 2025 playoff teams in a row, the Steelers should find themselves back in the postseason, but an 0-5 or 1-4 performance could put their playoff hopes in limbo. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm done there. I'm gonna stop reading that. I gotta look at the schedule. I'm getting to the schedule. So just give me a minute. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. This is pretty funny. Josh Cribbs. I'm surprised he admitted this. Josh Cribbs admits 2009 win over Steelers was Browns Super Bowl. Doesn't that piss you off? Don't you? I mean, we all know what happened when we play with inferior competition. Like on a Thursday night on a short week, you knew the Steelers were going to lose. It's just a sign of bad coaching. You know, all the motivational garbage talk and speak, it doesn't make up for X's and O's and preparation and playing with a certain brand of intensity. It's like, this pisses me off even hearing this. And I'm glad this is all about to come to an end. No more losing to a shitty team on a short week. No more losing to teams that we should beat hands down. I mean, it's all going to come to an end, I guarantee it. Here we go. This is what he had to say. Like the Browns win over the Steelers in 2009, that was a Thursday night football game. Of course it was a Thursday night football game. Matchup in Cleveland between the 1-11 Browns. The 1-11 Browns beat the 6-6 Steelers. It resulted in a 13-6 Cleveland win. I'm not going to lie. It was our Super Bowl. Former Browns return specialist Josh Cribbs admitted to James Harrison on the Debo and Joe podcast. I'm going to school you because you were in a winning organization for a long time. The AFC North consisted of teams where even if a team went 10-6, they still couldn't go to the playoffs because Baltimore was 11-5 and Pittsburgh was 12-4. Wasn't that some great days? It really was. The all-seeing Goy 1590. Jack Ham 59 was my guy, though. Got to hang out with him last year for about 10 minutes. Got a pic with him, and happy birthday from the Hammer. Yeah, I'm that old. Yeah, he's a very unique player. You know, sometimes I think he doesn't get enough credit for how good he was at. Like, it's like he did everything so good, everybody took it for granted. You watch the old clips of him, and he just makes it look so effortless, like he wasn't. He almost makes it look like he wasn't putting any effort into what he's doing, and I mean that in a good way, not a derogatory way. But Joe Paterno kind of said the same thing about him. They interviewed Joe Paterno one time, and they were like, "Tell us something about Jack Ham that a lot of people wouldn't suspect." He's like, they said, "What was his best game?" They're like, he's like, it was just so consistent. Every week, he kind of did the same things, like 1 interception, 9 tackles, 2 sacks, and a fumble. And he just did it so often, we kind of all took it for granted. The all-seeing Goy 1590 told us, yeah, I could see that. I could see it. No ego involved whatsoever there. While Cribbs' memory is a bit off, the spirit of what he said is still accurate. In 2007, the Browns went 10-6 thanks to an unexpected Pro Bowl season from quarterback Derek Anderson. It still wasn't enough to make the playoffs. As the Steelers won the division on a tiebreaker, also with a 10-6 record, the Tennessee Titans claimed the second wild card in the AFC on a tiebreaker and a 10-6 record as well. It was the Browns' only winning record in the 17-year stretch between 2003 2018, and still wasn't enough to reach the postseason. All right, I'm not getting into that. The point of me reading that was just like, it's just typical Tomlin. You know, we lose to a 1-11 Cleveland Browns team on a Thursday night. Go figure. It's like, it happened all the time. You play the Browns on a short week. The team is atrocious. And I do think the Browns are getting better. I thought Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. I thought Kevin Stefanski was a better coach than Tomlin. Just in a way, not as good organization. The defense was coming along strong. Shedeur Sanders is not the answer. I can't wait till he starts. I want Shedeur Sanders to start all 17 games this year. I want to destroy the Browns. I want to destroy him. Like, I want Shedeur Sanders to be the starter for the whole year. The all-seeing Goy 1590. Yeah, I heard this a lot too. Dude knew where the play was going before the offense did. Guy was a bad mother effer when reading offenses. Sorry, I'm living in the past. You don't have to be sorry about living in the past. That's all I do. So I hear you. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people don't, pay attention to the past, but they put the, the Jack Hams and the Jack Lamberts and Joe Greens and the Rod Woodsons. The standard is the standard. Well, they're the ones that put the S in the standard. They're the ones that started it, I should say. Bleacher Report projects trio of surprise offensive starters for Steelers. Yeah, this ought to be interesting. Here's the Steelers' projected offensive starting lineup from Bleacher Report. Aaron Rodgers, Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle's not starting over Jaylen Warren, but whatever. Wide receivers, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman Jr., Jeremy Bernard. Can't argue with that one. Left tackle, Broderick Jones. That might not happen. Left guard, Spencer Anderson. Yeah. Center, Zach Frazier. Yes. Right guard, Mason McCormick. Right tackle, Troy Fontanu. I know I get yelled at all the time for saying it wrong. Well, you know what's amazing about that lineup? You know what's really amazing about that lineup? You don't see our first round draft pick being predicted to start. Here we go again. So if you're going to take a guy in the first, if you're going to take a player in the first round, he better contribute to your team right away. Or what's the point of taking him? Here we go with he's a project. He has all the intangibles. Blah. That's what they said about Broderick Jones. We all saw how that's going. And you know what? Let me bring that up while we're on the topic. Let's talk about that draft. Because if Broderick Jones is a stud in that draft class, that's one of the best draft classes that the Steelers ever had. Hold on. Let me read you the picks because a lot of people forget from time to time. Tyrone Keaton, 8375. That won't be the O-line. Jones is cooked. Anderson won't either. It will be Troy left tackle, left guard Dunker, Frazier center, right guard McCormick, right tackle Max, my guess. Possibility. I don't think Dunker starts right away. I think maybe the third or fourth game. It isn't going to be crazy if they trade. Hold on. Let me look this up real quick. Give me a second. 2023 Steelers draft. Think about this 2023 draft class by the Steelers, and I even forget how good this was just because of Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones makes me forget this draft class. Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, round 1. Joey Porter Jr., cornerback, round 2. Keanu Benton, 2nd round. Darnell Washington, 3rd round. Nick Herbig, 4th round. Corey Trice, 7th round. Spencer Anderson, 7th round. If Broderick Jones lives up to his potential, if Broderick Jones is like an absolute stud at tackle, this is one of the best draft classes that the Steelers have ever had. Nick Herbig in the 4th round. Darnell Washington goes higher than Nick Herbig. Darnell Washington, he does all the little nuts and bolts things to make you a better player. I know people are down on Keanu Benton, but Keanu Benton has not been coached well his entire career. He needs to be defensive end. He's at a position. If Broderick Jones lived up to his part of the bill for this could have been one of the best draft classes Steelers ever had. The all-seeing guy, 1590. Dunker, bad boy 2. Frazier, this line guy. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think the Steelers are definitely, trending in a very positive position for their offensive line. You can't win anything if you can't win in the trenches. We all know that. So, but this Max Inhiker pick, I don't like it at all. And safety, the Steelers are making a big deal. I'm not even going to bring up his name because I don't think anybody knows who's we sign another safety, and it's just like, who are all these people that we're signing? I'm sorry. If Mekhi Lemon's not on the board, you don't take Max in. The Steelers broke every draft rule drafting Max Inhiker. The pre-draft visits and coming to the facility, they broke every rule drafting him. All the data points to Max Inhiker is not going to work out. All Omar Khan had to do was look at what happened with Broderick Jones. How many times have I said it? You got Dylan Thiemann, a safety on the board from Oregon. The Steelers' weakest position group. The weakest position group on the Pittsburgh Steelers is not linebacker. It's not even quarterback. It's safety. Jalen Ramsey's old. Deshaun is always hurt. They're both, that's the weakest group. And then there's a major drop-off after those players. Tyrone Keaton, 8375. Joey Porter Jr. was the steal of the draft. That's my favorite player. I agree. I agree. He's about to get big time money. And in the second round, I mean, I could see why that happened. Nick Herbig, when you think about Nick Herbig, I mean, I know he hasn't played a lot of football. He misses a couple games here or there, but a fourth round value, I mean, that's an absolute steal. That's like, every time Nick Herbig's getting out there on the field, he's impacting the game in a major way. He reminds me of Greg Lloyd. Nick Herbig reminds me of Greg Lloyd, his body type, his twisting, his turning, his explosiveness. I mean, their temperaments are very different. Nick Herbig also kind of reminds me of Micah Parsons in a way. And I think Nick is actually like 10 pounds heavier than Micah Parsons. But the all-seeing guy, 1590, thought they got a badass safety from Chicago. Yeah, Jaquan Brisker. But this is the thing that doesn't make sense about that. If you look at his numbers from last year, he had pretty good numbers for the Bears. Why would the Bears just let him walk out of the building and then draft a safety in the first? The Bears drafted Dylan Thiemann from Oregon. He ran a 4.37 40. He's good in coverage. He's good at the line of scrimmage. He does a lot. He's very versatile. So I don't know what's going on. It's gonna be, we're gonna see. I think that position group, safety position on the Steelers, just like last year, is gonna be a mess. Tyrone Keaton, 83.75. I think safety will be Brisker and Elliott. J-Ram will bounce around safety and nickel. I don't like that at all. I don't want to hear Jalen Ramsey's going in the slot corner. I've said it. He doesn't cover as well as he used to. He's old. I would go with Asante Samuel Jr. or why do I always forget his name? The corner that we got from the Jets. Hold on. Let me look up the depth chart real quick. I don't know why his name always slips my mind. But I know one thing. I don't want Jalen Ramsey at in the slot at all. Oh, Brandon Eccles. I would put Brandon Eccles in the slot corner before I will put Jalen Ramsey. No brainer. So Cam Hayward hopes Steelers travel to Paris a whole week before matchup against Saints. I don't know how Mike McCarthy and staff are going to do it, but we'll be ready. Personally, I like to fly as soon as we can get to Paris and get settled in. I definitely think we flew a little bit earlier last time around to Ireland, which I think benefited us. Hayward said Thursday on his Not Just Football podcast, I wish we would go the whole week. Like, I think it only serves the game better if we go there earlier. Here's the problem, what Cam is saying. I don't think the Steelers have a choice. I don't think it's up to Art Rooney and the organization. I think I'm almost positive I've read this, 99.9% positive that Roger Goodell makes it so no team can get a competitive advantage. Both teams have to fly out at the same time. That's what I've read, and I've read it multiple times. So I don't really think it's up to the Steelers or Art Rooney there, Cam. Tyrone Keaton, 83.75. J-Ram will be better. Even Slay said Tomlin's scheme was ass. It's outside. You don't want J-Ram. Yeah, I mean, he did say that. At this point in his career, I just think Jalen Ramsey is better off at free safety, keeping everything in front of him. I don't think he's that guy anymore. I don't think he's that player that can, cover a Calvin Austin third out of the slot or Mekhi Lemon out of the slot. I just don't see that. See what else is going on. How many sacks will TJ Watt record in 2026? I think 10 or better. I think TJ Watt gets 10 or better. He probably would have had 10 last year if the Steelers didn't put a needle in his lung. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, Max Crosby, I don't know why, is from ESPN is considered like one of the best pass rushers in the league. I don't think he's better than Myles Garrett. I'll tell you that. TJ Watt beat him in every category statistically except for sacks, and they were only off in the sack category by like 1 or 2 sacks. And if TJ Watt plays the whole year and doesn't get the needling incident, he beats Max Crosby in every category. So this whole thing that TJ Watt is finished, if a player is finished, he's not getting double teamed, triple teamed, and chipped. And the player that you should have a problem with that's not doing enough is Alex Highsmith. If Alex Highsmith is the other starter on the other side of the field and TJ Watt is getting all that attention, Alex Highsmith should have 10 or more sacks every year, and he doesn't. And he's getting paid big time money. If anybody's underperforming, it's Alex Highsmith. Former NFL quarterback thinks Steelers can be a little bit dangerous with Aaron Rodgers at QB. Anyway, in a quick reaction video he posted to his personal X account Saturday night following the news of Rodgers signing with the Steelers on a one-year deal worth up to $25 million, Daniel believes the Steelers can be dangerous this season and could get over the hump in the playoffs. Who is this saying this? Daniel. Hold on. Let me look. Hold on. Give me a minute. Oh, okay. I think I can't. Hold on. Here's the thing that I really like about this team. DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman, Jeremy Bernard, Roman Wilson, Jalen Warren, Pat Freiermuth, Rico Dowdle. They have all the talent in the world, Daniel said. Is this Chase Daniel? Is that who they're talking about? Probably. Said of the Steelers, look, if their defense can play like they did late in the year, I think this Steelers team can be a little bit dangerous. I really like their options. Darnell Washington as well. And it's not just Aaron Rodgers, right? Like he's back. He's going to be there through May. I think they go 11-6. I think they get past the wild card round, maybe the divisional round, and who knows what can happen. I know they have a little bit of an older defense. They need to fix the offense at times. That has to get more vertical. They're going to get more vertical. That's definitely happening. This whole thing where we don't throw the ball over the middle of the field and go in vertical, that's over. That's not happening with Mike McCarthy. It's over. But the way Rodgers has played last year, this is a heck of a deal. Stock up on the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Yeah, this is Chase Daniel. I don't need to play it. Okay, well, I'll agree with him there. So, no doubt about it. You're going to see a much different Steelers team. I think Steelers fans are going to be shocked what kind of Steelers team that you see on the field this year. I think it's just going to be... I'm not going to read that. New Navy coach shares the one physical trait that separates Eli Heidenreich from others. It's, well, put up or shut up. I mean, not going to read it. Steelers offense really optimized for 2026 version of Aaron Rodgers, analyst says. Let's jump into this. The all-seeing Goy said, yep, I agree. If Rodgers returns for 2026, the offensive might be suited for him than it was last year under former coordinator Arthur Smith. At least that's how ESPN, Mina Kimes. Oh, I'm not reading. I can't read anything that she writes. I really can't. No, I can't lose credibility because of Mina Kimes. Mina Kimes' takes are atrocious. I'm not reading her work. So she suffers from Aaron Rodgers derangement syndrome also. So, and she's like, she tries to ride a new wave all the time. Like if she sees the whole media is leaning one way, like sometimes she'll go with it, or then sometimes she just likes to say the opposite to sound outrageous. I don't think she operates from an honest standpoint at all. Like at all. So she's another Tomlin enabler for years, but the thing that, look, I don't have a problem with this pick, the Eli Heidenreich, great value. He's a 7th round pick. But here's the problem a little bit that I have. It's like Caden Weegen. Somebody corrected me the other day. They said, don't say the T, and it's not Wetchen, it's Weegen. So here's the problem I have with Caden Weegen and this Eli Heidenreich. And I said this first, and now I'm seeing multiple people kind of say it. It's like, their skill sets are very similar. Now, Kirk Ferentz, the coach of Iowa, said that Wetjen is the best punt kick returner that he's ever coached or he's ever seen. So I mean, I get the pick, but it's like if you have a player Heidenreich who can obviously probably pretty much do kicks, and why waste a 4th round pick? Look, I'm not diminishing how important the return game is, field position is to the NFL football games. Of course, it can win you games. It's a very super important position. But in the 4th round, when the Steelers, were considered weak at linebacker, were considered weak at safety, there's other options. You could have took a tackle we had 3 3rd-round picks. You could have took a offensive tackle in the 3rd round from the SEC who played against competition, pass rushers that are going to the NFL instead of Max Inhiker. Like, I thought the Steelers could have went in a totally different direction with their draft, starting with their first-round draft pick, which I thought it should have been a dominant safety. And I read this the other day, and I was like, oh, this was painful. I did read this the other day. The Steelers were interested in trading up and getting Caleb Downs from Ohio State, the safety that went to the Dallas Cowboys, who I think is going to be a hell of a player. But they didn't want to pay whatever the price was. Like, they said it was a really steep price. Now, let's just say hypothetically, the Steelers had to give up a first-round pick. I mean, I don't know, a first, a third-round pick, and a seventh-round pick. Is it worth it to get an impact player like Caleb Downs from Ohio State? You know, we wasted our first round. I don't mean this directly at Max. This is not personal. Like, we wasted our first round pick on a player that's not going to make it. But Max Inhiker is a project. He's a project. I don't understand how you do not get a player with your first round pick that has a long resume in college football, that was an All-American in high school, an All-American in college, and now he's predicted to be a first round draft pick. What offensive tackles do you know in the NFL that don't have all the tools? All you keep hearing is he has all the tools. Every offensive tackle that's in the NFL has all the tools. The all-seeing guy, 1590, not going over the middle was more Tomlin stooge crap. Yeah, I agree. Can't disagree with you there. But let's say the Steelers traded let's say the Steelers, they traded the farm to get Caleb Downs on the, as their first round draft pick. I think we'd all be, having a different vibe and feeling about the Steelers draft class. We all know the Steelers wanted Mekhi Lemon. If the Steelers draft Mekhi Lemon in the first round, the Biletnikoff Award winner, I don't have anything negative to say. He goes right into the slot. He's your day one slot guy. Big college resume, All-American. I watch USC all the time. Showed up week in and week out. He's not a project. So I wouldn't have complained about the Mekhi Lemon pick, just like I wouldn't have complained about the Caleb Downs pick. And then I was reading some articles where people are making excuses for Omar Khan. They're like, this isn't the first time in draft history that a player's got stolen from another team. This happens all the time. They start mentioning the teams. Well, here's the problem I have with that. If you know that happens all the time and you have 3 third-round picks, then maybe you should trade one to make sure you get the guy you want in the first round. Just to be positive. Just to make sure nobody poaches your player. Tyrone Keaton, 8375 Super Chats. I like Max. I trust the O-line coaching to get him right. I mean, I do. I like him as a person, too. I mean, he does a lot of things. But I'm telling you, all the analytics, when they put they crunch all the numbers and everything. Like, they do everything off percentages. Percentage-wise, it says that he doesn't work out. And here, again, you're like, you say the same thing every day. We just did this. We just did this with Broderick Jones. So if I'm sitting there making a decision, I might not say this out loud, but I'm thinking in the back of my mind, well, shit, I just did this with Broderick Jones. It didn't work out. He played at Georgia. He played in the SEC. He saw, elite pass rushers on a weekly basis. Inhiker didn't play in the SEC. We don't know how many pass rushers he went against that are going to end up in the NFL. He probably played inferior competition. Let me trade up and get a Caleb Downs. Let me sell the farm to get a Caleb Downs type player. Let me make sure I get my Mekhi Lemon. So if it doesn't work out, you could always go back and be like, listen, coming out of college, coming out of high school, he's an All-American. He's an insane player. It just didn't work out. Nobody can criticize you for that. Nobody could say anything. Like, if Inhiker doesn't work out, Omar Khan's going to get destroyed. Now he'll be like, I don't care. But he should care. He should care. Because all the analytics said don't draft him. The words project, I don't want to hear the word project with my first round pick. Maybe a third round pick, maybe a 6th round pick. Again, and if I'm his boss, I would say to him, well, didn't you learn from the Broderick Jones pick? But hey, that's why I'm here, and Omar Khan is sitting next to Art Rooney doing his thing. Let's see what else is going on. Let me look for the schedule. What is Brandon Echols' role in 2026? Well, Brandon Echols is the fourth corner. And, I'd rather see Asante Samuel Jr. in the slot, but I would take Echols in the slot also. And, if a team goes 4 wide, 5 wide, he should be on the field. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. Joey Porter Jr., Jamal Dean, Asante Samuel Jr., Brandon Echols, then the other kid that everybody's making a big deal about that they got in the 5th, 7th round or something from Oklahoma. No, where is he from? From Georgia? He's from Georgia. I'm forgetting his name, but he's the 5th corner on the roster. He might not even play this year. Why would he play? Tyrone Keaton, 83.75. Max shut down Bailey, 2nd overall pick. He definitely has what it takes, and maybe they thinking Jones won't be healthy this start of the season. Yeah, but why is everybody forgetting about my guy? And I'm forgetting his name myself right now. Hold on. Why is everybody forgetting about Dylan Cook? We saw Dylan Cook on film last year. Everybody acts like he can't play football. Yeah, Dalen Everett. Everybody's talking about Dalen Everett's a 3rd-round pick. But guess what? He's going to be the 5th corner on the team. He's going to be the 5th corner. So I don't get it. I don't, he's not going to be ahead of Echols or Asante Samuel Jr. on the depth chart. I don't see that happening at all. And I read a lot of college. The scouts were saying that he's not really great in coverage and doesn't have good instincts. Project PA, what's up, buddy? Steelers getting first playoff win in 10 years. Let's go. I agree with you. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. But, Brandon Echols' role is going to be the 4th corner on the team. That's what his role is. So they always say that. I heard he might, Tyreek Keaton, A375. I heard he might be in the slot. Listen, I'm not directing this at Tyrone Keaton. I'm really directing this at the Steelers organization. The slot corner is one of the most important positions on the defense. We saw that with Cooper DeJean. Again, when Cooper DeJean wasn't the starter and the Eagles were getting roasted in the middle part of the field, the Eagles were not going to win the Super Bowl. They weren't going to make it to the playoffs. They put Cooper DeJean in the starting lineup. He starts to shut down the middle of the field. And the Eagles go on to win the Super Bowl. This whole thing where the Steelers think it's not an important position and we're just going to put our 5th or 6th corner in the slot to cover the middle of the field. I don't understand why this is not important to you. I don't understand why you're taking the attitude. It's like, oh, well, you know what? We're going to take our 6th corner and put him in the slot. You need to have a stud shutting down the middle of the field. And the Steelers were going to draft Cooper DeJean. The Steelers were interested in drafting him, and they passed. So, excellent player, going to be an excellent player for a very long time. We all saw the Super Bowl interception, pretty much it didn't turn the game around because the Eagles were going to dominate anyway. But all Cooper DeJean has done since he's been in the league is make play after play after play and shut down the middle of the field. Jerome Bettis, I think he has Aaron Rodgers derangement syndrome, have to pull the plug. Jerome Bettis talks moving on from Aaron Rodgers if Steelers aren't in playoff position. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, Jerome. It's like, Jerome, do you want to talk about why we're in this position? See, Jerome has a short memory. He never seems to mention Mike Tomlin at all. But I'm going to keep mentioning it. Mike Tomlin did not draft Big Ben. He didn't develop Big Ben. So in 19 years, Mike Tomlin could not draft or develop a quarterback, Jerome Bettis. But you never want to talk about the big elephant in the room. And as far as moving on from Rodgers next year, I think that's definitely the plan. But when you got 2 rookie quarterbacks on the bench, Aaron Rodgers right now is your best option. Oh, Kyle Murray. They should have brought in Kyle Murray or Malik Willis. That's what ESPN is saying. It's like, just stop, please. Just knock it off. Analyst predicts Tui Tugliavala, Falcons put 42 points on Steelers in week 1. Yeah, okay. Let me read this. Tui's not putting up 42 points on a high school team. And I like Tui, but that's not happening. This is the game I'm going to. I try to go to 2 games a year. Hopefully my money's okay by the time this game rolls around. But I really want to see the Steelers play the Falcons. But anyway. Here we go with this idiocy. A game which might not go well for Pittsburgh in the eyes of Greg Rosenthal on his NFL Daily podcast. Rosenthal had a segment in which he and co-host tried to predict fluky Week 1 results, which wouldn't be indicative of the full season. He thought the Falcons could explode offensively in a win over Pittsburgh. I think Tui Tagliavala comes out Week 1 in Pittsburgh. It's not like it's the craziest upset ever, but him and Stefanski take back to Mike Daniel and I forgot, Stefanski is the coach there. Stefanski is a very good coach. Stefanski is a good coach. So, it's like, we got to chase Stefanski out of town because he didn't, he wasn't crazy about Shedeur Sanders and he's a racist. Well, you know what's funny with Deion saying that? It's like the Cleveland Browns roster is like 92% black and nobody else was calling Stefanski a racist but Shedeur and his dad. But anyway, they don't get to 70 points, but they get to like 42. And you know what? I'm so happy that Shedeur is going to be the starter from Week 1. I can't wait to play him twice a year. I want to see Nick Herbig. I want to see the black and gold really get after him. I cannot believe that the Steelers lost to a Shedeur Sanders-led football team last year at one of the most important points in the entire season. We lose to a Shedeur Sanders quarterback team and the Cleveland Browns. Well, those days are over because Tomlin's not the coach anymore. So, but anyway. But they get to like 42, and it's just they're playing this quick strike offense. The Steelers look old, Rosenthal said. For what it's worth, Rosenthal does expect the Steelers to have a good season overall. A couple of weeks ago, he figured they'd go over the projected win total of whatever. Tui's not putting up 42 points on the Steelers. He'll get hit once and he might have a concussion. So let's be serious. He's not putting up 42 points. Oh yeah, he's so great, but the Dolphins were like, we don't want you anymore. Bye. Right? Anyway, I mean, I really feel for Kevin Stefanski. He goes into these places and they hand him like the worst quarterbacks possible. And I do think Tui is better than Shedeur. He has a better attitude. He's more coachable. He doesn't think the world revolves around him. Do I think he has a possibility to resurrect his career in Atlanta? Yeah, he has that possibility. He definitely has it, but I'm not even going to read this whole article. Pressure is on for McCarthy after great Steelers offseason, analyst says. Okay, well, here, let me clue this analyst in on something. This is the Steelers. The pressure is always on. There's no such thing as rebuilds. The team can win the Super Bowl one year and next year come out the gate and lose 2 games, and the fans are like, the coach needs to be fired. He absolutely sucks. The Steelers season is crashing down. It's called Welcome to Pittsburgh. Where expectations are high every year. So it's just like, I'm not reading this article or wasting my time. All right, I want to say this name right because I do have problems saying this, and I was informed how to say it. It's not Echelon, it's Echelon Films, correct? Echelon Films. Tua doesn't have to beat us. You're thinking with your fan brain, what's the Steelers' weakest link? Stopping the run. If we don't stop Bijan, that will open the pass, and then we're cooked. Well, I see what you're saying, but I was talking about Tua because the article was related to him. The all-seeing Goy 1590. Tomlin couldn't develop a twist, come with the sprinkles on it, let alone Pittsburgh defense. That's funny. Echelon Films, right? It's Echelon. How do I pronounce that again? I know I get corrected once a week, and I want to pronounce your name right because you're always in here, and I appreciate it. But I see what you're saying. I mean, if you don't stop the run. But, we're talking about Tui. We're talking... Rosenthal is saying that Tui Tagliavala himself is going to put up, 45 points against the Steelers, possibly 70. And I completely disagree with that take. Yeah, exactly, Project PA. Welcome to Pittsburgh, The team could go 14-2 and, lose a game in a bad fashion. And the fan base is like, we need to fire everybody now. Fire them. Chris Boswell is the perfect example of that. He hasn't missed a field goal in 100 years. He misses back-to-back weeks because the field is sloppy and wet. And the fan base is like, oh, Boswell's finished. He can't concentrate anymore. Tyrone Keaton, 83.75. Our pass rush will kill Atlanta O-line. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Atlanta has any type of offensive line, and that's why I don't think Tui's going to have a good year at all. Echelon Films. The team has to prove to us as a fan base that we can stop the run. This is the same team that set records in our building last year, and now they're older. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, but we are in the worst possible. The scheme that we played on defense. What was that noise? The scheme that we played on defense. I forgot who said it last week. They were like, Tomlin dependent on the defensive line to stop balls over the middle because if they didn't swat it down, that was considered not doing your job. Oh, yeah, Darius Slay said this. That's our scheme to stop passes over the middle. We're depending on the defensive end to bat it down every time. I think we're much better statistically in every category this year just because of better coaching. I really do. Echelon Films. If we don't improve in the trenches, then we are done before the season starts. I know the scheme is different, but execution. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But why wouldn't they execute? I think offensively, the offensive line is better. Can Cam Hayward hold up? We're going to see. Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black have to take bigger leaps this year. We bring in the guy from Tampa. He looks like a fire hydrant. We get the kid from Notre Dame. But yeah, I mean, I know you're asking, Keanu Benton's still there. But I do think it's trending in the right direction. Echelon Films, thank you. And Tyrone Keaton, 83.75. Graham will be a better. I agree with you. Echelon Films. I mean, you're saying, you're talking about Derek Harmon when he was on the field last year and he wasn't hurt. He was a beast for the Steelers. He made some plays and then some, you see some games and he's getting blown off the ball. But again, if you're not scheming right, you're going to have problems. Let me see what else is going on. Let me try to find this schedule. Okay. Let me look at this schedule. Hold on. Echelon Film says because they're old, people won't admit that our D-line is the worst possible situation. We have a lot of house money. Cam Hayward is like 47, and we were betting on young dude take massive steps. Stats of the weird Steelers 2026 schedule edition. Well, Keanu Benton needs to kick out the defensive end. Derek Harmon. Y.A. Black needs to see more time on the field. We might have to go to the traditional base 3-4, which I don't think is a bad option. I mean, you can only play I don't want to say that, but are they ever going to move Keanu Benton to defensive end? I doubt it, but let me see what this is saying. No, this isn't the regular schedule. I'm trying to just bring up where it tells me the teams that we're playing. Tyrone Keaton, 83.75. Cam was second All-Pro last year. I mean, Cam did have a good year last year, so it's not like he didn't play well. But you never know when the dam is going to break. You never know when they just totally fall off a cliff. He batted down a lot of balls. He made a lot of tackles, but again, let me try to find the schedule. Hold on. Echelon Films, Tyreek Keaton, 83. What's your point? The season last year means nothing. No one is going to talk about Cam Hayward being on an All-Pro last year in Week 7 if he's playing bad. Oh, here we go. Pittsburgh Steelers official 2026 schedule. Falcons. I'm not making any predictions. Falcons, Patriots, Bengals, Browns, Colts. This is where it gets serious. No, actually week 10. Colts, Bucks, Saints, Browns, bye. Now, this is where it really gets. After week 9, we get our bye, and then it's Bengals, Eagles, Broncos, Texans, Jaguars, Ravens, Panthers. What a stretch. After week 10, it really gets crazy. I mean, it's the NFL. All the games are going to be somewhat tough, but even like the first 5-game stretch, Falcons, Patriots made it to the Super Bowl. Falcons think they're going to blow us out of the building. Bengals, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are always give us some problems. I think everybody's thinking that the Browns with Shedeur Sanders are automatically going to beat the Steelers. I think that's a joke. The all-seeing Goy 1590. Yes, Nina knows another Tomlin blunder. Yeah, I don't know how you have a 3-4 defense and you don't have a true nose tackle in there like a Casey Hampton. I mean, why Black? Do I think he could be that guy? Yeah, I do think he could be that guy. I thought it was a no-brainer last year that he should have automatically been in there, but no, we got to develop. We got to move him all over the place. I don't understand why you want to move Y.A. Black all over the place. Just put him at the zero technique over the center, let him anchor down and be a pain in the ass for every team we play. Hold on. Echelon Film says, we're going 10-7. That's my early prediction. I just think the offense will look different. I think we get our first playoff win in a while. So, give me a minute. I'm trying to pull up an article. Give me a second. Echelon Films, and no one is talking about how much an adjustment the coaching needs to take. This is a new team for them as well. Well, that's true. Day will be the nose tackle this year. Oh, yeah, from Tampa. He looks like a fire hydrant. He looks like a fire hydrant on film. And he's tough. He is a tough player. He's a grinder. He kind of reminds the kid from Notre Dame also. What's his name? Rosado or... They remind me of each other in a way. We signed him in free agent. He played with the Titans. All right, let me look that up. I don't know why I keep thinking the Bucks. James Harrison predicts Nick Herbig's next contract. The numbers are just going to go up. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Aaron Derrick, 5721. Yo, what's up, bro? I'm glad I caught another live. Not surprised Rodgers signed. Me too. Glad you're here. I appreciate it. No, I'm not surprised either. We all know it was coming, so. Debo James Harrison predicts Steelers could go 16-1, finish 13-4 in worst case scenario. Wow, Harrison is losing it. Debo being very optimistic for the upcoming season. Echelon Films. Everyone wants to jump the gun because of two reasons. Tomlin's gone and the roster is still good, but that means nothing if the chemistry isn't there. Well, we're going to see. After we popped them on December 20th, Baltimore and then the Panthers and then Tennessee were resting, Harrison said Friday on his Debo and Joe podcast. We done won the North. We probably sitting there fighting for the AFC's top seed and fighting for the bye. Maybe 14-3, 13-4 at worst. That's my worst case scenario. 16-1 best case scenario. Wow. James Harrison. He's going big. He's going big, and he's not going home. That's for sure. The all-seeing Goy 1590. Come on, nothing can be much worse than Tomlin, awful Smith, and terrible Austin. Those guys are chumps. They've had loaded rosters. Like, come on. I agree with you there. Echelon Films. I played ball myself and on some good teams, and we weren't that good because of the chemistry, talent, and scheme only go so far. That is true. But I think the team, you don't have George Pickens in the locker room. I don't know why you think the team wouldn't gel. They have a lot of players that are respected, and a lot of the players love Jalen Ramsey, even though he's not playing as well. A lot of the players look up to TJ, Nick Herbig, Cam Hayward. I mean, they do, have some camaraderie in there. And the problem childs that were once on the roster are no longer on the roster. Aaron Derrick, 5721. I think at very best we'll go 12-5. That would be nice. I mean, that would be considered an ultimate success, wouldn't it? Let me see what else is going on. Echelon Films, things I appreciate is seeing Rodgers hang out with teammates and Harmon, X-Black being good friends. Those things matter more than this. I get, yeah, because you got to depend on your teammate to be where he's supposed to be. And if you really care about each other, you're going to do it at all costs. And that's another thing I'm glad you brought up. Like Aaron Rodgers brings that to the team. You know, people try to crap on him and say, oh, he's not a team guy, but Aaron Rodgers, you know, flying the offense to his home last year in Malibu so they could work out and learn the playbook better. Like Aaron Rodgers brings a lot of leadership / chemistry qualities to the team to make the Steelers a better team. But yeah, I agree with you there, especially Rodgers. I like Wyatt. Listen, there's nothing. Wyatt Black is there's nothing to not like. You know what I mean? Great person in the locker room, good on the field, a total steal in the draft. Despite head coach change, Brian McFadden predicts fourth straight 10-7 season for Steelers. Well, Jennings Dunker reminds me so much of Alan Fenica. Charlie Batch says, well, Charlie, that's a real nice comparison. Now, I hope you're not just saying it because of the red hair and the mullet, because Alan Fenica was a little bit gingerish, but hey, this is what Batch had to say. Dunker has all the physical attributes that you want for a guard. Batch said recently via the team's YouTube channel. He understands he has an opportunity to start at this point. He reminds me so much of Alan Fenica. You just look right at him, and if he can turn a career into Fenica, Steelers fans will be very happy with the selection. Alan Fenica was amazing. Like, he was sensational. Echelon Films, I wouldn't bet house money on the team. I know people are excited, but people need to chill out because this is how disappointment starts. The Pittsburgh Cyclone. That's pretty funny. That's how it starts every year. We're winning the Super Bowl. We're winning the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if our quarterback's 56 years old. We're winning the Super Bowl. Echelon Films, another player we were betting on so early. I hear you. Jalen Hurts trolls Steelers. Let's see what he had to say. Hold on. Jalen Hurts' reaction and who knows response to questions about Aaron Rodgers still playing for. I don't really consider that trolling. I mean, Jesus, I'm not playing it, so whatever. Let me move on. Man, I've been on here for an hour and 15 minutes already. Huh? Talking away. Aaron Derrick 5721 in the super chats. I personally don't believe Rodgers will make it through all 17 games. I mean, that's a legitimate concern. We all know how cold it gets. You know, he just can't be running around out there with the football. That's for sure. I don't want to see him get hit at all. So if that means automatically taking a snap and throwing it out of bounds so he doesn't get hit, I will not complain because I need him upright. So. Let me end it with let me end it with Dan Orlowski. Echelon Films and the super chats. Jalen Hurts is actually the worst player in the league. He can stop talking. Same guy lost his spot to Tua in college. Shit, this went out, buddy. That is true. He lost his spot to Tua. That was pretty. And then he goes to Oklahoma. But yeah, that's true. Dan Orlowski thinks Steelers could lose final 9 games. Project P and the super chats. Here we go. Rodgers back is awesome. Let's give the young quarterbacks a chance to learn. That's another thing too. Just having him there with McCarthy to help the younger quarterbacks, you know, develop, it's a big deal. It's worth the money. Dan Orlowski thinks Steelers could lose final 9 games. Wow. Find a win after the bye week. Orlowski said recently on ESPN, schedule released now. If you're Pittsburgh, find the win. Cincy, you're not beating Cincy at Cincy. You're not beating Philly at Philly. You're not beating Denver. You're not beating Houston. You're not beating Jacksonville. You're not beating Baltimore. I understand 7 of the first 9 are non-playoff teams. Echelon Films. Jalen Hurts made a career off being pushed in the butt. Grown man by the That's pretty funny. But I sit here and I look at the Steelers team, and we don't know who they're going to be under, Mike McCarthy, and if Aaron Rodgers is going to be the guy. I continuously believe he will. 5-6 wins. They've had 2 top 10 picks since 1990. It's not normal. But if you go into that bye week and you don't have a banked set of wins, that's a brutal final 9. I don't see easy wins early on. I don't see any wins late. Echelon Films. Yeah, Daniel is a nut. Yeah, he likes to like smell the female host shoes on the shoes and socks of his female hosts on the on ESPN. We all know that Danny Boy's an old cuck. He likes to sit in the corner and do weird things. Aaron Derrick 5721. Oh yeah, Dan O is such a fool, running out the back of the end zone. His takes are so he's hard. I mean, ESPN, they need Orlowski to be there. They need him to be the cuck in the corner, just agreeing with everything that Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith say. So, that's why he still has a job. If he ever was like not confrontational in a physical sense, if he ever had good arguments back to Ryan Clark and back to Stephen A. Smith, he would get fired. So that's why he's there. He's there to be, the doormat. So it literally on an episode, I think he takes Molly Quorum's shoe and he starts smelling it. And everybody's like, oh, here we go with the weird white guy fetishes. They're all laughing at him. It was pretty funny. Like everybody's like looking at him like, why are you smelling her shoes? Echelon Films. Daniel is someone who says this every year as well as it's a part of the cyclone. But it's okay. He will say we're good by week 11 and then we'll start to suck and he will be right. I mean, that is a brutal sketch. That is a brutal stretch after the bye week. Brutal stretch. And if I'm Nick Herbig, I'm not signing my contract before the season starts. I'm just not. I got to see if I'm going to play. If Nick Herbig if he's not starting, there's no reason why the Steelers can't get Nick Herbig on the field with all 3 pass rushers, with TJ Watt, with Alex Highsmith. USC did this with Brian Cushing, Ray Maliugo, and Clay Matthews. They call it the Predator. They can get them all on the field. Aaron Derrick, 5721. I think you're absolutely right about that. Dan O wearing the dunce cap. That's why he's there. That's why he doesn't ever get fired. If he was to have good arguments back to those 2, he would be fired. So Kirk Ferentz sees Jennings Dunker as a natural fit at guard, but would not rule out him playing tackle. Well, let's slow down there, Kirk. Let's see. Echelon Films. It's okay. I understand we are the 10-7 terrible team that never improves. I get it, but that's what I don't get hype. I hear you. I'm trying to be a little more optimistic, Echelon Film. I'm trying to be a little bit more optimistic, but I understand your pain. Trust me, I really do. I get the pain. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody in the super chats tuning in. Thanks for interacting with me. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Help me out. I need to start making some money. Oh, Aaron Rodgers signed. I think this is the best roster that the Steelers have had on paper in a very long time, especially the offensive side of the ball. We need to see the defense improve. We need to see the offensive line make strides. We need to see Max Inhiker become that guy. I wish the Steelers would have again, I've said this a million times. I think safety on the Steelers is the weakest position group, and I think we made a mistake by not addressing that in the draft, either getting Caleb Downs or Dylan Thiemann from Oregon, 2 great players. Echelon Films. Most analysts don't have good takes for TV, and idiots that will cry and make content and stuff, but that's why I don't watch them. I hear you. Again, for anybody that doesn't know, the Steelers let this out of the bag the other day. They were interested in trading up for Caleb Downs, but they didn't like they said they would have to give up too much. I would have loved to known what the Steelers had to give up to get him. Who knows what it would have been, but would have been worth it. Like if you see Caleb Downs go to the Cowboys and he totally balls out and goes crazy, and he looks like like they were comparing Caleb Downs to Troy Polamalu coming out of the draft. I'm not going to go there because he hasn't played it down in NFL football, but that was the comparison. And when I watched Caleb Downs at Ohio State, like when they would interview him off the field, his seriousness and love for the game, it did remind me of Ronnie Lott in a lot of ways, like his attitude. That Minka Fitzpatrick had that type of quality when he first came into the league, his seriousness and learning for the game. Like he took it very serious. And that's what I want to see out of my first round pick. Did I see Caleb Downs? Like when I watched him play, did I think he played like Troy? I think that's a bit of a stretch, but we're going to have to wait and see. But if the Steelers' safety position is a problem all year round, the Steelers made a mistake not addressing this issue in the draft. Aaron Derrick, 57-21. Yeah, I had the same thought. We'll probably go 10-7 again. I was planning on buying tickets to a game this year until Rodgers signed. Pittsburgh needs to stop making decisions out of fear, but that's the only chance they got. Echelon Films, Caleb ain't Polamalu. He'll be a slot guy like Devin Witherspoon by year 3. Yeah, I didn't see the Troy Polamalu comparison either. I didn't see that. I think he's a good player. Here's the problem with the talent pool now. Because we have such a lack of talent, because we don't have two-a-days anymore, because the players now are like better athletes, not football players, because of all the stupid rules that Roger Goodell makes, and then it transitions down to the high school and the college game. I think out of this year's 32 draft picks in the first round, only 10 players had first-round grades. Caleb Downs was one of those players. Mekhi Lemon was one of those players. Our first-round pick wasn't one of those players. I can tell you that. Max Inhiker was not one of those players that they had as a first-round talent. So it's like, if you can't get a first-round talent in the first round, do you trade out of the pick to get more picks, like in the second and third round? Or do you trade up and give some of your picks away to get a player that has first-round grade, like a first-round grade as far as talent, that he's an actual first-round player? I don't know. I think the Mekhi Lemon thing is going to come back to bite us on the ass. That's all I keep thinking. Echelon Films. This is the league, not high school Under Armour games. Caleb at best. Tyrone Matthew, good player, but it's the Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, if he has a Tyrone Matthew career, everybody's going to consider that a success. Matthew played a long time. He impacted a lot of games, but I get what you're saying. Do I think he's Troy? That's saying a lot. So I didn't see that on, and I watched like 3 or 4 of his games against the best competition. I really didn't see that. I didn't see that type of impactful player. But again, you can only draft what's being given to you. Do you want to get a whole roster of mediocre players? Do you want to get 12 players that are all like below average players and most of them are not in the league more than 3 years? Or do you want to get that one stud that's going to go to the Hall of Fame and play 12 years in the league? Like, you got to make up your mind. I guess we're all going to have to wait and see. Again, thanks for everybody in the Super Chats tuning in, listening, and interacting. I appreciate it. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. Echelon Films, name me the Cowboys' best defensive back in the last 20 years. Oh, wait, Buddy is cooked off that alone. I mean, I agree with you. Who's the best Cowboys defensive back? Darren Woodson? When's the last time he played? 1994? Exactly. He's about to be Micah Parsons hype W. I mean, the last time that the Dallas Cowboys had a superior defensive back, it was Darren Woodson. And I don't even remember I didn't think he was that good. I didn't think he was like totally insane good. I didn't think he was Troy Polamalu, I'll tell you that. I thought he was decent. All right, guys, let me get going.